Hello, listeners. This is another of CommanderRICK56's podcasts. Beyond Transformers, everything related to Transformers. Today we'll be talking about Bruticus. Now, I have a new format for the podcast now. I'm just going to be linking to TFW posts, pictures, because for this guy there's a lot of pictures and I cannot fit enough into the podcast, but I digress. Let's get started with the individual characters of Bruticus. You have Swindle, you have Brawl, you have Onslaught, you have Vortex, and you have Blastoff. Now, I just want to point something out, that the color difference between all of these different versions that we've seen. We first saw them in an issue of Game Informer. That'd be Swindle, Brawl, and the torso and head of Bruticus. And then later we saw pictures of Onslaught himself, Vortex, and Blastoff, and then the entirety of Bruticus on their website. The tones are all muted and everything, and when I first looked at it, I really liked it that way. I thought it fit to the character really well, and because I remember War for Cybertron being a little dark, but remember, they were trying to brighten up everything for the second game, so then they released all of them, and they showed the different colors and everything, and then boom, at Toy Fair in New York, just a month or so back, they showed new versions of them, just only in the Gestalt, and everything is a bit brighter. A bit more neon, a bit more color and everything. With that philosophy of making the game brighter, it works, but for the toy, it has its ups, it has its downs. Let me just get into each individual figure on how I feel about the different color variations. We're starting off with Swindle. Not much difference on them color-wise, except the gold appears yellow. Now, that might just be Photoshop editing, because they always make them look a little bit fancier to the retailers to be able to sell them. So that could be an issue of that. But overall, the toy looks really great. It looks spot on with the model. Totally looks like Swindle, what his Cybertronian mode would be, because obviously there's no need for a Jeep on Cybertron. Nobody would go in. Anyway, the shoulders probably could go a little higher. That's been one complaint. But it looks like all of these are like Scramble City style combiners. So I did notice some hands inside the bottom of Swindle. I don't think this will be a problem at all, as long as it's engineered well. I think in his normal arrangement of the two flyers up on top and the two ground vehicles on the bottom, well, every fan will just do it that way. Either way, it'll work. Next is Brawl. Wow, his green is really bright in this new form. It was very muted and very much a military green the first time we saw it, and I thought that fit the character well and everything, but just the brighter green, he never looked of either color in the first game, so it'd be interesting to see how they do that. I was playing the game recently, and Brawl is about as tall as Megatron. I'm trying to figure out how they're going to work Brawl getting bigger in order to make this giant combiner, because Brawl is short. But yeah, we'll probably see that when we get to the game. Mass shifting, what have you. Maybe because of Shockwave's experiments, he gets bigger. That could be the explanation. But yeah, I think it's clever how the foot is made. To me, it feels more like a wooden peg, you know, how like a pirate leg, that's what I mean. How they walk on like a wooden peg. Anyway, it looks like the guns are able to point up like they do traditionally, but it's hard to tell without actually touching the toy, because there was one image of it, I can't remember exactly, where that whole turret part was like, there was a hinge, two hinges attached to the guns on either side, and they were kind of pulled out, you know, a double joint kind of thing. So it will probably be able to move up. That's a minor nitpick. I'll be happy if they do that, because obviously match with the previous toys, match with the game concept art and all that stuff. So that'd be fun. Next up is Vortex. He underwent a drastically different color scheme, going from, I can recollect, gold and red. Yeah, gold, red, and silver. That I honestly liked it, but there was probably too much gold for what the figure usually looks like, and then the repaint with this new version came out, and it has a lot more red, a lot more blue or purple. It's hard to tell which it is. And a big old Decepticon symbol on either side, which matches the game image, the CGI model. So this, honestly, the second version might be the official. Although in the previous color scheme, the robot mode looked more on model than this new color scheme does, which is very curious. But overall, the toy, all the toys look really great. I mean, I won't be able to have much more of an opinion on it until I actually am able to mess with them in hand, figure out the transformations, because those guys that always do the photos for the toys, they always get a little something mistransformed, because, hey, they get paid to shoot it. They don't get paid to play. Heck, we don't get paid to play. But anyway, so then Blast Off. This guy is pretty neat. I really like the concept of it, because he has to look like a space shuttle, and what better way to do it than that? That screams like it would be a Cybertronian space shuttle. If you look at the previous shuttles, if there are much of any, maybe the last scene of War for Cybertron, that's probably it. Now, his original color scheme was all gold and then purple for the fins on the weapons, for the chest, the shockwave-like chest. And as one other person put it, it looks like a giant cathedral of death. Because that person said that, I was just, awesome. That sounds awesome. But, and then it changes colors to basically swapping it and then changing the gold out for yellow. It looks good either way. I'm sure the new color scheme actually fits the G1 if that's what they're going for. On its own, it looks fantastic. I couldn't hate it any other way. If I don't get any of the other ones, that would be the one I would get. But I'm getting all of them, so no reason for that. Then you have Onslaught, which I later looked at the actual model in game for Fall of Cybertron, and it's very much on par, which leads me to believe that this second version is going to be the actual rendition of the toy. With the green that was on there, it was kind of a muted, just like Brawl, it went up to neon. I don't know if they just didn't have the time or the money to put the extra effects on, because these might actually turn out to still be darker toned, but like the actual color changes, complete changes, like on Blast Off and Vortex, those will probably stay, but the hue and the contrast of it might be a little different when we get to final. And then in the combined mode, it looks good in either way. In the combined mode, I really don't have a problem with it. Before, when I was going to record this, I was having a fit because it wasn't the way I thought it should be. But after reading some things, listening to things, looking at it more and everything, I just kind of didn't care either way. It still looks good, and by picking this up, you're pretty much telling Hasbro, we want more combiners, and maybe they'll make a more G1 accurate Devastator, a Defensor, a Computron, different ones like that. I would love to see those. Overall, it looks pretty badass. I can't lie. Their vehicle modes do look really good. At this point, I'm just ranting on. You should look at all the links. You should look at the pictures, make up your own mind, figure out if you like it or not. Oh, one thing I was going to say I completely forgot about. I don't know if any of you remember this, but they have made, from what I remember, from what I counted, 10 different repaints of the G1 model of Bruticus. So I can definitely foresee that they're going to do many repaints of this. Maybe both versions will get done. I've also suspected that if they do a limited edition of the game for any version, that it should come with a toy. At first I was thinking, oh, maybe Grimlock, but maybe that or the first colored Bruticus would be really great. Alrighty, if you guys have any comments, any requests for anything you want me to talk about, I am going to be doing reviews here. I have some lined up. I got some bot shots. I got some prime figures. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you got any requests for size comparisons, let me know. If I have it, I'll put it next to it so you can tell how big it is and everything. I'll be coming up with more podcasts, more news that's coming up. This is a pretty exciting year for Transformers. It's going to be fun. Now, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and all that cool stuff. And don't forget to check out Home Atomics if you want to get a good laugh. Lots of fun stuff. A new video, Hollywood Hacking, starring me in part of it. You'll love it. It's hilarious. See you next time on the Commander Rick 56 Podcast.